Boruto's new enemy is here, and the debates for his instinctual target are going everywhere. While the most plausible person whom this new Shinju could be hunting is Gaara, for reasons that I will discuss later. But what if the story will take an unexpected turn from this point by getting a major supporter of Boruto in big trouble? I'm talking about Shikamaru and how Ryu the Shinju could be after his wife Temari. For those of you who don't know how she could get involved in all of this, Temari is the sister of Gaara, which makes her the step-aunt of Shinki, and as we know, the instincts of Shinju make them devour the closest person of their human counterpart, but it is just a speculation for most part, as Mamushi devouring Aida, even though Bug wasn't close to her, makes it seems like the closeness doesn't matter when it comes to these beings choosing their instinctual targets. Certainly the charm making Bug attracted to Aida could be the reason for Mamushi's devouring instinct, but Ryu going after his aunt Temari as an instinctual desire to prey on his family members is also something that would be sensible to the plot. It won't be a flawed addition, or in the words of Shikamaru, a drag, simply because Ryu going after Temari would increase the stakes for the 8th Hokage. Now here's an angle that I believe empowers the possibility of Temari being the next Shinju target. But before that, if you are new to the page, make sure to subscribe to never miss any upload from my side. I hope you remember this infamous panel from the Naruto manga where the mysterious entity in the background is theorized to be Boruto. The protagonist, after unlocking the power to move through time, may have traveled back to study or possibly change the events. But take a look at the dialogue here. It says hated by both friends and enemies, and no friends or enemies will be sad for him. He's alone and nothing will be left of him. This dialogue being a speculative foreshadowing for what's next for Boruto kinda aligns with his recent situation in the story. I'm talking about the line which says no friends or enemies will be sad for him. It's not just a reference to Boruto losing his friends due to the divine spell, but also the severe effects which make one forget the primary reason to show faith in him. Shikamaru was shown to suffer from the ailment of omnipotence when he started questioning himself the reasons which made him trust Boruto. He kinda forgot why he's showing him this amount of faith and had to remind himself about the foundations of his trust. The divine spell literally made him forget the important details of the switcheroo, which only reflects how impactful the divine rewrite of destiny is. If Shikamaru hadn't realized why he's helping Boruto, it's very likely that he wouldn't be sad over his execution, simply because he wouldn't realize why he was helping him at first place. This explains what this potential foreshadowing may be referring to. Another thing before we come to the main point, as we know, Aida's omnipotence manifested Kawaki's desire of switching places with Boruto, but it did not make Naruto's death a fact. It was after the switcheroo when she made an announcement that the Hokage is dead. This means opposite to what Kawaki believes. Boruto can actually convince people that Naruto is alive, since it's not something rooted in them by omnipotence. But it would be a lot difficult to make them believe that Kawaki is the culprit behind all of this, and people like Shikamaru who are kind enough to lend a hand to Boruto in a situation like this could get to face the most miserable fate too, as helping an accursed would get you cursed. A popular example from pop culture to understand this case can be found in The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty. This iconic horror movie and novel follows the possession of a young girl named Regan. When the priests attempt to exorcise the demon possessing her, they both suffer tragic fates. One of them in particular ends up being cursed by the demon and sacrifices himself to free Regan. His effort to help her ultimately causes his own possession and death. Now you must be able to understand why Boruto's supporters would be facing unexpected calamities. The curse of facing an unprecedented fate will contagiously make the lives of his allies worse too, and Shikamaru is no exception to this. He would certainly end up getting more involved with the Shinjus, and the most plausible way for this to happen right now would be by the means of Temari becoming Ryu's target. We shouldn't forget that Shikamaru was able to utilize his IQ in making sense out of nonsense in chapter 14. As you could see, the effects of omnipotence on Ino already made her forget who Boruto is and what's going on. Shikamaru's insanely persistent intellect made him regain his trust in Boruto even though his memories were being constantly revamped. This shows that he is the most vital pillar of support to the prodigy. And as we have the proven case of Sasuke as evidence that Boruto's supporters succumb to terrible fates, it seems like a similar situation is going to arise for the 8th Hokage very soon. So will Shikamaru lose his wife in the Shinju conflict, or will she somehow get saved by Boruto? Let me know in the comments what you think about it, and let's move on to the next theory. Chapter 14 may have just dropped how the prodigy will make use of the unfortunate situations in his favor. The Sand Village just got attacked by the Shinjus too, and now they are asking for help from the Leaf Village without knowing that they have been acting rough on their only star of hope. Not to mention, if Boruto wasn't privileged with a good upbringing and some strong guidance, then it was already over for Konoha and the people like these elders who were accidentally given way too long lives. But luckily for them, the Otsutsuki transformation of Boruto didn't turn him into a ruthless monster. He's more focused on saving humanity than becoming a look-alike of this alien species, and there couldn't be any better chance for him to do so, as the Kazekage of the Sand Village is now in danger, and there is literally nobody who could swoosh off this new threat except Boruto. I don't understand what in the world was the Sand Village expecting from the Leaf. Like, Naruto is already dead, Sasuke is long gone, there is no way they know about the cyborgs, and all the other reinforcements from Konoha are a piece of cake for the new villains. So I doubt the Leaf would be any help to their neighbors in trouble, but someone who may actually help out the Sand Village and its people just to kill two birds with one stone is definitely Boruto. Now you may be wondering, how does an attack on the Sand Village would correlate in the favor of the protagonist? Back in the flashback sequence, we saw shinobis from other villages tracing Boruto too, meaning that he's an international criminal, and if he enters the Sand Village, he would be treated no different than Konoha. Well, I want you to understand a pattern that I feel like may be a setup to something big. Both the people from the previous generation who are in support of Boruto are more or less the best friends of Naruto. Sasuke and Shikamaru have been close to Boruto's father throughout the original series, with Shikamaru being a childhood best friend and Sasuke being the lifelong rival cum teammate. The only other person who was really close to Naruto back in the day was Gaara, and I think the story is turning these close people of the Hokage into Boruto's supporters for some reasons. The best explanation would be these guys having faith in Boruto's conviction due to the bond that they share with his father. To understand this plot point better, we will need to understand how gut and instincts have been implemented in the story. Kashinkoji, following the path of Jiraiya to seek the true savior of this world, is an instinct that he inherited from the legendary son in himself. Just like how Jiraiya was determined to find the child of prophecy, Kashinkoji figured out who the next savior of this world would be, which may be why he unlocked the Prescience power to have more precision over his decisions. The power to have a glimpse of the forthcoming is something that was somewhat visible in the instinctual endeavor of Jiraiya. He was fueled by the great Toad sage, who could also have the Prescience power, and I have already talked about this in an older video, so make sure to check that out. Anyway, the transformation of Jiraiya's determination to find and train the savior of this world is what manifested into the destiny of Kashinkoji. There are other examples in the story that align with this analogy, like the humanly bond that the victims of Clockgrime shared with a certain person, transformed into the gluten instincts of their Shinjus. According to chapter 14 of Two Blue Vortex, the intelligent entails now want to obtain knowledge, that's why they will prey on certain people who were close to their human counterparts. So how does it apply to Gaara's bond with Naruto, manifesting into a tendency to spare his son? Not to mention, he won't see him as his son, but an S-rank criminal. Well, the character of Gaara has witnessed a great development in the story of Naruto. He evolved from a cold, destructive individual into a compassionate and wise leader. The reason he might also trust Boruto, just like Shikamaru and Sasuke, would be a matter of judgment and perception. Gaara has experienced first-hand pain and isolation of being viewed as a monster. He would likely empathize with Boruto's situation, understanding the challenges of being falsely accused. It may be hard for him to swallow why an S-rank criminal would come to the rescue of his village, which could be one of the reasons for him to figure out the situations from a neutral standpoint. After potentially discussing it with Shikamaru, who already knows the truth, Gaara's trust in Boruto could increase after realizing that he claims Naruto is at a safe place. Even though it was him who could be seen putting stress on Naruto when they were discussing the execution of his son, this time the situation is different, and even if Shikamaru doesn't reveal the hidden details to Gaara, I really think he would play an important role in clearing Boruto's image. This may be how Kawaki would start hating the shinobi system. He mentioned in the last chapter that Momoshiki would sooner or later take him over, so the best fate that he considers for Boruto is death. And looking at how Boruto ain't a monster, yet he is perceived as one by the majority, it would provide Gaara with another reason to understand him. A hero in the cape of a villain, a misjudged person who was framed by his own people. These elements in Boruto's character could be the reasons for Gaara to show trust in him, simply because he has been through similar stuff in his lifetime. So if the vindication of Boruto begins from the Sand Village, then it would explain why Kawaki would lose his hope on the shinobi system. Even in chapter chapter 14, Shikamaru helping out Boruto must have put him on Kawaki's suspicion list. The day he realizes the inferior beings are going against his wishes just to help out a person who has been accused with the Hokage's death. Coming back to how things could take a better turn for the prodigy upon rescuing the Sand Village, it would make the involvement of the side characters to the plot more engaging, effectively portraying how the original bonds that Naruto once formed are helping out his son in such a confusing state. By the way, the predictions I'm making in this video are completely based on the foundational speculation of Ryu making Gaara his target, which should technically be the case for many reasons, considering how the other Shinjus chose their targets. But tomorrow I will bring a whole new video on a possible different target of Ryu the Shinju that would rise the stakes for a character who played a major role in chapter 14. So subscribe to not miss another bunch of interesting theories. Now let's talk about how the Shinju got formed at first place. Was the Sand Village attacked by Matsuri and Bug with an army of claw grinds, which led to people like Gaara and Shinki getting involved? Or was it the doing of someone who's putting out all his frustrations at random places? I'm talking about Code, and a slight possibility for him to make a return next chapter. Konkuro did not reveal the details about the attack, and he wouldn't even be able to differentiate between Code and the Shinjus at this point, as both of them used the Grime army, and a small distraction could make one succumb to an irreversible fate. Well, it would have been cooler if it was actually Code who somehow decided to go after the Sand Village, but it's actually Matsuri, as in chapter 13, Mamushi reports to Jura that she's back, and her intel hints at Boruto having an ally. Well, this means the Sand Village was the key in figuring out someone is supporting their enemy from the shadows, and that's actually true, cause Koji himself mentioned this abandoned Orochimaru hideout is situated near the Land of Wind. The hidden Sand Village is also located in the same area, which clears a lot of things. Matsuri not just concluded the hiding place of Kashin Koji, but also got to fight the Sand Shinobis, and the one whom she found the most interesting was turned into a tree. She was shown to be excited to witness what's going to emerge, meaning that she did see something in Shinki, which is why she got him devoured. So Koji is now at a big risk, and since his base is located in the Land of Wind, it's possible that the next Shinju that Boruto will be facing will be Ryu, and when he goes to rescue Gaara from his attack, Koji could simultaneously get attacked by the other Shinjus, but I think he would have a big brain card to avoid this situation. He may not possibly be able to see his own future with prescience, but he could apparently see who's approaching him, which may be how he would effectively handle this situation. So in a nutshell, a new generation edition of the Kazekage rescue mission is about to begin into Blue Vortex. Assuming Boruto is able to prove his innocence to Gaara and the Sand Village, which is a very difficult task to begin with, I think we can expect someone advocating for his innocence. But the fact that he won't say anything against Kawaki is problematic. The flash forward confirming Kawaki doesn't consider him a threat anymore, which only raises questions on his decisions to make him go through the extreme conditions. Imagine getting a new home just to ruin it for your selfish desires. Let me know if I should bring a full video on Kawaki's psychological development and what the future has kept for him. So will Boruto be able to win another supporter, or could things take a worse turn this time? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below, and check out these videos for more amazing stuff. I will see you next time.